Hello and welcome back to my channel if this is your first time here. Hi, I'm Casty. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. I'm far too lazy to take down my fall decor because I am recording all my fall content currently. So you're getting fall decor in this August video and you're gonna have to live with it. Today we're just doing a reading wrap-up, some of my recent reads that I've read. Honestly, this could be a little bit boring because most of these books were actually in vlogs, but there are... well, most of them were in my dragon vlogs. I think I only have 5 reads to talk to you about. So let's just get right on into the video, and I'm going to start it off with my DNF. I DNF'd Prairie of the Orange Tree in the recent couple weeks. I just couldn't... there's a whole vlog on this. It's my reading dragon books dragon vlog. It'll be linked down below for my full thoughts, but I just couldn't get behind it. I was super confused the entire time. It just wasn't working for me. That's all I can say is I felt very lost. I got 180 pages in, I think, and I just had no idea what was happening, and I stopped caring, and I stopped listening so much because I just had no care. I was just confused, and I didn't feel like the confusion was going to pay off, and I'm a high fantasy reader. I'm used to being confused typically, but this one just, it felt wrong. Something about this book just did not vibe with me. So that was my DNF for the month, and it's sitting right there, but I was too lazy to get it out. And then I read Aragon by Christopher Pellini. I gave this 3 stars. I actually quite enjoyed this. This is also in that same vlog. I was really shocked by the fact that I enjoyed this. It's like a good book. In the vlog I said that it was hard to talk about because I can appreciate this book. I think it stands the test of time as a teen reader, but it wasn't complicated enough. I like my books to be a little more convoluted than that, it's hilarious to say that after I DNF'd Prairie for being too convoluted and too complicated, but this was just super simple. It's a teen book. I wasn't its target audience. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I didn't love and adore it, but I am no longer that audience that should love and adore it. Well, that is most likely to love and adore it is a better way to phrase it. But yeah, Aragon follows Aragon, who finds a dragon egg, and adventures begin. It's very typical. There's a lot of classic tropes, specifically classic tropes that you see in One Boy and His Dragon type books. There's the storyteller that comes to town. There's the emperor, burning people down. There's the murdered family. There's a lot of things that I don't want to say without spoilers, but you could go watch the vlog where my thoughts are on this in detail. I don't have much to say about this book. It's so hard to talk about because I liked it. I liked it. There was nothing wrong with it. I'm not the target audience, and I'm sorry that this reading wrap-up sucks. And then we have Dragon Mage by Emil Spencer, which I have a lot more to say about. I give this book a 2.5, maybe a 2. I really did not enjoy this book, but I am in the minority. When you look through Goodreads, there are a lot of people who absolutely love and adore this book. I'm really sad because it is a chunker. Again, this isn't that exact same vlog, but I am also a guest host for Femmes Aficionadas, where we are talking about this beginning of October. Hannah's announcement video will be linked down below. I'm very excited to see what all the other hosts think about it, because I think I'm going to be the odd one out, and they're all going to love and adore it, but it just didn't connect with me. I felt like it had a lot of pacing issues. It was very slow. The characters were very one-dimensional. I've never met... there's 2 main characters in this story. We're following Aram and Marcus, who live in a small village together. At one point, Aram is bullied for being different because he is on the autistic spectrum, and Marcus comes to his rescue and saves him, and then a friendship starts from there, and they both figure out that they're the chosen ones, and they go on an adventure and a quest, and there's a magic system that has, it's a portal fantasy magic system. There's 3 worlds, 3 portals. There's a magic school in here. There's a second magic school in here. There's just a lot going on. This book goes many different directions, takes many different facets of fantasy into it, and it was just too much. You know what? It feels so weird when I sandwich these in between Aragon back to back to say that, but it was just too much and just couldn't hold my attention. There was nothing to hold on to and grasp onto for long enough in this book for me. There was a time jump that felt very useless to me. Our one character, Marcus, I feel like just existed to be Aram's friend, and if that's the case, why even make him a character? He should have had his own story arc, and he didn't get one, and I wanted this to be a lot darker than it is. It's a hopeful story. It's not meant to be dark, I don't think, but just for my personal taste, it wasn't getting there for me, especially because there's like moments, like there's a protagonist in this, he's tortured for like 4 years, and after that torture it doesn't affect him at all, and I really would have liked to see how being tortured for 4 years actually changes someone, how it marks them for the rest of their life, and it changes the way they think and view things, but it just didn't do that. This book was hopeful. This was a story for a boy, and written as about a boy who needed to see himself, someone like him, as a hero, and I think that that's a beautiful book to write, that protagonist that is different and a hero, but it wasn't a book that I could connect to, it wasn't a book that I enjoyed, and sadly, just not for me. Please check out the live show, though. There will be a non-spoiler part of the live show if you don't read it, but I actually think you should read it, because I am 100% the odd one out here. Go on Goodreads, there's so many 5-star reviews. Everyone adores this, and I'm very excited to see what the other co-hosts think about it. Next, I read Bitter Twins for Backlist Book Club. This is the second book in the Winnowing Flame trilogy. The Winnowing Flame trilogy starts with the Ninth Reign, which we're following a dying world where every couple years the aliens come to, like, decimate the world. But we have these vampire-like creatures that are fueled by their tree god, and this sap from this tree god. They fight off these aliens, and they win so that the world doesn't get destroyed. But last time in the last reign something happened, and the tree god that rejuvenates these vampires and gives them life died off, and now the vampires are starting to die off, but we haven't seen a reign in a long time until now, when the ninth reign finally comes, and how are we going to survive? This is the coolest book because it's got such a cool setting. It's very genre bending. There's fantasy, there's sci-fi, there's horror. I really adore it for all the unique elements it takes from all these different genres and puts into one. Now, the Bitter Twins only got a low 4 from me, where the Ninth Reign got 5 stars from me. This one went a little bit too sci-fi for my liking. I wanted it to stay a little bit more fantastical, especially because it is mostly marketed as a fantasy, and I feel like it went very, very sci-fi here. And I wanted a fantasy more than a sci-fi. There's also just some issues that I had that I didn't care about a lot of things happening. I wanted more time with different characters. I wanted to see the world, like in the first one, something I really, really adored, because if you've been on the channel for a long time, I always call myself a world building. I really liked it. I really, really adored in that first one, seeing that scope of the world, the uniqueness of the world, and learning the world as we went. In this one, we had already learned the world to some extent, so we didn't really focus on that, and it was a lot more about the characters, and I'm just not as character driven. So I really, really adored our one POV where we were kind of with the aliens and we were learning more about the alien world, but some of the other POVs really fell flat for me, and something this book really had a problem with for me is that it went a direction that I couldn't see coming in the first book. I felt like the setup wasn't there. Like, what happened in the second book felt very distant from what happened in the first book. Although it could make sense and I understood why it made sense, I wanted to see that setup. I wanted to be able to predict where the book 2 and 3s were going as I keep reading the book. You know, book 1 should give me a hint at where book 2 is going to go. That's how I feel personally. But I still really had a good time with it. I still gave it a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The animal companions in this book, chef's kiss, they're some of my favorites. They're like these warrior beasts that are bred to like fight off the aliens, and just their personalities in this. One in particular stole my heart, and I think is now my number 1 favorite animal companion to exist in fantasy. I just really, really adored the way they wrote these, and I think the time you spent with them was quite done well. Like, there wasn't too much time spent with them, and you didn't have to like force yourself to learn about all of these animal companions, because there are a couple. They like fly, they come in different shapes, like there's griffins, there's cats, there's dragons. They have like very unique personalities to them, and I honestly would tell people to read this series just for these animal companions. And I'm really excited just to see where this goes. I'm very, very excited for the last book. I feel like this did get middle book syndrome from me, and maybe now that I'm expecting a lot more sci-fi, I will like the next one more if it does lean heavy into that sci-fi. We have a whole live show on this on my channel that goes into spoiler thoughts if you have read the book or you do decide to read the book. You can always come back and watch our live shows where we kind of discuss and talk about things. It was kind of interesting because I critiqued the book for going sci-fi, and Mel enjoyed how much sci-fi it went. So it's just like 2 different thoughts and feelings, and it's cool to see in like a conversation like that, right? Like, the discussions on what some people like and what some people don't. I'm just overall just intrigued. I still overly like the characters. There's also some queer representation in this. We have two gay relationships, one between females and one between males. I really, really enjoyed the one between the males. It felt very natural when it came about, and the female one has been going on since book 1. And yeah, that was just a point to put in there. I'm just excited for the next one. And the last book in this little reading wrap-up recent reads is The Daughter of Redwinter by, I need to check who this is by, Ed McDonald. This book actually really shocked me. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I was the odd one out. We buddy read it, me, Mel, and Rachel, kind of. It was like impromptu. It was never meant to be a buddy read. We all just picked it up at the same time. And they both gave it 3 stars. I think, I actually don't 100% know Rachel's star rating at the end, but I know I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it the most. This one, I think why I enjoyed it is I knew nothing about it. I picked it up because Holly Hart's books said that it was a little bit genre bending, and I was looking for genre bending fantasies because I've been adoring them lately. And it had like a little bit of those horrific elements. There's ghosts. It's spooky season all the way. I definitely will be recommending this for people who want to read a fantasy book during spooky season. I actually have a recommendation video coming at some point in September that this is on. We're following this main character who, in this world, if you can see the dead, that means you're bad. Like, you need to die. They kill you. They murder you. That's wrong. And we have a protagonist who has seen the dead since she was little. And she's been keeping it a secret. And something happens, and she ends up going to Redwinter, which is the kind of like school setting for these guardians of the magic in the world. And she kind of has to hide who she is while she's there because they're the people that do the killing, but she also wants to learn the magic. And I'm doing this book no justice. I have no idea how to explain this book. I just really liked it. There's like demons in it, there's ghosts, there's a really cool magic system. The book doesn't go, it's not high fantasy, it's not epic fantasy. You're not getting the detail that you get in a lot of other books. It's no Course of Dragons, it's no Sanderson, anything like that, but it was a really good read for the time. It was quick, it was short, it was fast. I enjoyed the character. However, I know Mel struggled with the character, and I really enjoyed the character because there's a lot in this book about grief and moreover lack of grief when people pass away, and it's something I actually personally felt like I could really relate to, is kind of when something happens, like a lack of emotion is kind of how I deal with it, and I really, really liked that discussion in this book, and I really related to our character, but she's very distant, and there's a reason that she's distant, and she's written very, like, held back from the narrative, and I honestly really enjoyed that, but I know not everyone does, and so it's a writing style that, it's like a writing gimmick that might not work for you, but it really worked for me. And if anything I'm saying sounds interesting, please pick this book up. I'd love to know your thoughts. I need more people to read it and more people to talk to about it. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's not my typical read at all. Very soft magic system, and a lot about the characters and relationships with the characters, and I really, really adored it. I really enjoyed this one. It just worked for me. I don't know if it was like right time, right place, but it worked for me. It was the perfect light read that I needed. That's the only books I've read recently that I am available to talk to you about currently. This is my first recent reads, and I've only been talking for like 15 minutes, so this feels very insane because this will probably only be cut down to like 10 minutes. It'll be super short, and I like the way that is. This will make my editing life way more easy, and my YouTube life probably way more easy in terms of vlogs. If you've made it this far into the video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a hospital emoji. I think there's a hospital emoji. Or a building, like just like a building, like a house, a hospital, something, architectural building. And if you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon, all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.